Welcome to Pop-O-Holics, the show about hot takes, hot and hot, tasty pancakes. Welcome to the weekly upload for sometime in September. I don't even know what day it is. I'm your host, Christian Katie, and I'm joined, as always, by my two best friends.
Chris Conkling, and it's September 13th.
Thank you.
And Brian Dupree.
If it's Daddy, he's talking about it, Brian Dupree.
I was so happy to see Steve react to that on YouTube.
Oh,
Shout out,
good.
Steve. That was
so good.
I appreciated that.
Yes, we love our loyal listeners contributing. Yes, you've landed on a weekly upload. If you didn't understand that joke, you need to get on the Pop-O-Holics train because our inside jokes are grady. What do we do on the weekly upload? Well, for our YouTube watchers, we cover the news. Brian brings us the latest in the wacky news. And then for audio listeners, exclusively, audio listeners, where are we at? Where at, audio listeners? You're here.
I can hear him.
You can hear him. And you know exactly how I feel about this entire situation. What are we going to be talking about today? Well, Brian's going to talk about some news. We got Halloween Kills news. Time's moving all over the place with these release schedules. Be talking about the first trailer for The Matrix, which I definitely watched. I'm not typically a trailer person, but got to see what's going on over here. So I do have something to say about that. The PlayStation Showcase, which you know your boy was watching live. And then we got some new movies and TV shows coming out. And then for the consuming, again, exclusive for audio listeners, Brian has seen The Candyman. Excited to hear his thoughts there. The Card Counter and Malignant, doing double duties, triple duties, never missing. If it's Daddy, he's watching about it. I saw War Dogs, which is on Netflix. It came out a long time ago. Listen, life is complicated. I've been busy. And Chris sadly has nothing, but Brian's making up for that.
I mean, there are a couple things that I could talk about, so we'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, we'll just freeball it. And then is that applicable to the situation? No? Okay.
Sure.
And then we have our
comfortable.
Then we have our community feedback section. If you would like to subscribe to the Pop-O-Holics, well, if you're on YouTube, smash that bell icon, as all the YouTubers say. And then you can check our link in the description below or in the show notes if you're on the audio feed and hit the subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get this train a-rockin' and a-rollin' and let's dive into Brian's Wacky News Corner.
Start on wacky, start on wacky. Welcome back. That was quite a mean mug from Christian during that theme song there.
Well, we don't have a transition, so nobody's going to see it. Chris cuts out my audio because he hates my music.
I'm actually going to crop just your frame and paste it
just the full
right over
mug.
the audio.
It was heavy. But yeah, some news this week. Halloween Kills, the sequel to the 2018 soft reboot / sequel to the Halloween franchise, has been announced to be released day and date on Peacock at no extra charge on October 15th when it hits theaters next month. A lot of movies have pushed out to next year, and I wasn't certain that this movie was going to hold, but they've changed the strategy a little bit. They've done this prior with the Boss Baby sequel, Family Business, that came out, and I guess it did well enough for them in terms of generating Peacock subscribers. For those of you who don't know, Peacock is NBC's streaming service, which does have a free ad-based version. I'm not certain if this is going to be able to be watched on there or not. It's unclear. But yeah, Halloween Kills, we covered this on the podcast. I have been looking forward to this for a while. It's been long delayed. And I'm super excited that not only is it going to be out, but also even more widely available. So how do you guys feel about Halloween Kills coming to Peacock?
Well, first and foremost, even though I'm not a huge horror fan, I am excited for this movie and was planning on seeing it. Considering, like you said, Brian, we covered the first one 2-3 years ago at this point. Wow. This is such an interesting decision to see Universal go or NBC say, we're going to put this day and date, especially considering a lot of the release news that we've been seeing within the last week. Especially after like the Shang-Chi release in theaters, that movie doing so well, even in the middle of a pandemic, cracking, I think, like 190 million opening weekend, which is unheard of so far during the pandemic. And then we have Sony films like Let There Be Carnage being pushed forward to October 1st because of Shang-Chi's success. So it's an interesting time to look at the type of movies coming out and watch studio decisions and kind of the gears turning in their head going, is this movie capable of achieving the same success of a Marvel movie in the theater? Will we make our money back? Or if we were to solely release it in theaters, would we take even more of a loss, you know? Because like I personally look at Halloween, and yes, it's a popular horror franchise. People love this character, but can it make and be as successful as, say, Shang-Chi was? I don't think so, you know? So I think it makes sense.
Though?
This is an R-rated horror movie,
Which
right?
also puts this roadblock for it making as much money as it possibly can, you know, considering that we're in the pandemic. Look at Suicide Squad. But yeah, I think this decision makes sense, but it's just so fascinating to me watching all these different decisions being made in terms of like what movies are getting day and date, which are sticking to their theater exclusive openings. It's fascinating. Christian, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything's wacky. Everything's wacky. Everybody's trying new things. You know, I don't think it's the wrong call. And personally, I probably wouldn't have seen Shang-Chi just based on the situation here in Florida if it was available for $30 to stream on Disney Plus. So, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of this series, as y'all know. I don't need to see this movie. I would have never saw it in theaters. But it's like you said, it is fascinating to see how everybody's handling everything. But on this particular film in general, I was a no-go anyway. But I do know that the horror movies do well this time of year. This is kind of the time when they come out. People love going to see them together. It's an event type of thing. Like, horror is meant for an audience. I really do. Just as
Without
much
a
as
doubt.
comedy or spectacle. So it's a little disheartening. But the fact they're doing, you know, they're adding value to these streaming services is probably the smart move at this point.
Yeah, everyone's trying to build up that catalog. So yeah, that's Halloween Kills. That'll be out October 15th. I'm sure we'll be talking about it the week before it comes out as well. The next one, which I'm really interested to talk about because we might have some contentious views here on the podcast. But the first trailer for The Matrix Resurrections, the latest movie from Lana Wachowski and the fourth in the Matrix franchise, bringing back Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith, as well as some new people being involved, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Jessica Henwick, and Neil Patrick Harris, and many others. Obviously, we all are big fans of the first Matrix movie. The second two are widely considered to be lesser films, and some people consider them outright bad movies. Personally, I think there's stuff to enjoy in both of them, and I appreciate how they're trying to expand the lore, even though I think it undercuts some of the magic of what the first movie had laid out. With that being said, this looks like a pseudo reboot, and I don't know how much I want to say about this. Maybe if you don't want to know about this movie at all, jump ahead 3 or 4 minutes.
But do
I
we
will
know
get
anything?
into-
I don't know. I don't know.
We don't, but we know some things that people may not want to know. So hop ahead a few minutes if you don't want to know anything about the new Matrix
I
movie.
might know the whole plot of this movie, but I'm not going to say anything about it.
God.
Of
Well,
course
you do.
So
Of
Chris
course
has
you
the
do.
script already.
He's watched
but,
the VFX written. He's watched the VFX-less cut of the film. He's got a copy of it. Just hit him up if you want it.
Unofficially. No, don't hit him up. No.
No, I felt that.
But,
I'll just say I felt.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I felt the same way. I felt after watching the first Matrix, which I don't think is a terribly, incredibly hard film to make sense of or parse, but I was like 10 or 12 when I saw it. I want to say, and I felt the same way after watching this trailer that I did then, and I was very confused about everything.
What is going on?
So all I have to say is the Matrix is back, and
It's been resurrected
and it looks
based on the title.
It looks like new Wachowski, and not like old Wachowski. So I'm not the most excited, but the talent is there as far as the acting, and it's certainly going to be something to talk about. So either way, I'm going to see it. I am excited. I am confused, and I'm a little skeptical of the way they're doing the special effects, because that is, you know, me, special effects boy.
This is also a teaser, though, so you have to take into consideration that,
Sure.
like, you know,
This is more
unfinished.
than a teaser. This is not a teaser. I'm so sick of people misunderstanding teaser. It's and not your fault. I think they labeled it a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
They did.
What
A
a
teaser
teaser
is
is
like-
in 2021 has changed.
No third act spoilers in the trailer is
Right,
basically what a teaser means
basically.
these days, because a lot of times they do have them.
Yeah, in my opinion, well, we're going to talk when we get into PlayStation news about some legitimate teasers.
Oh yeah, those are the video game teasers. That's a different ball game than film.
You're supposed to be
teasers.
You're supposed to be teased and titillated. It's
Right.
like,
I think the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, which is considered a teaser, gave away a ton of information about the movie.
yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you that the term teaser has very much changed.
Yeah, that's
in
a
the
full
last
blown
couple of
trailer.
years.
That's a full blown trailer, if you ask me. Chris, your thoughts on The Matrix without spoiling it for everybody, because
I won't spoil
I've already
anything.
read the script.
Christian, you and I feel similarly about the trailer.
It's not good because you've read the script, so you should know more.
Let me say
That
this.
scares me even more now. But
I actually think it's a really good trailer. I love the use of Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit. Perfect song for this trailer and this franchise. Absolutely. I know this is what Keanu looks like now with the John Wick look is basically his look for every film that he makes now. But like I was actually kind of disappointed to not see him looking more like classic Neo, you know? And yes,
See,
it's
he
been
could
a
get
long
there,
time.
though, right?
He might
Like,
get there.
this-
He might get there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I totally agree with you. It's great to see Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss next to each other again. Obviously,
Oh,
we're
that
not
chemistry. Just immediate sparks flying.
Yeah.
she looks great too.
brought
looks
right
wonderful.
back. She looks great.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I do miss Lawrence Fishburne, but for obvious reasons, he cannot be in the film based on what happened in the original trilogy. So I agree with you, Christian. The special effects don't look the best, but again, unfinished teaser. Why do we need this? Is my question. Like the second two movies,
Because if
movie
it was
2 and
called
3,
The Robot Universe, we wouldn't be talking about it on this podcast.
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because of the critical reception of 2 and 3. The Matrix is a huge franchise and it's going to make a lot of money, but like in terms of films that need to exist, and I do ask this question every once in a while, like why now are we revisiting the Matrix?
They've been trying to make this movie
if for no
Chris.
I know they have, but if for no other reason than to just make some money, you know? And yes, like Hollywood is an industry, a business industry,
Chris,
and
do
they
you think,
try to
do you
generate
think
revenue.
that Marvel is churning out movies because they just
Oh, they love money. Oh, they love money. Like I said, it's a business, you know, it's an industry.
Yeah.
But like it's been such a long time since
Yeah.
the third Matrix film.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why.
See,
So
I have heard
I'm-
some talk, Chris, about some potentially groundbreaking rigs and effects work that's being done here.
That
So
would
it
be
sounds
cool.
like Lana Wachowski is trying to push the boundaries. And I just got to say, I saw this trailer on the big screen for the first time just 3 hours ago and got literal chills because it looked fucking incredible.
that's awesome.
I was
Good to hear.
so insanely hyped. But yes, to your point, I think so the world is clearly in a very different place, right? We're post 9/11 in the world. Tech has progressed and the movie was very prescient in the way tech has affected us, but there's so many things that it couldn't possibly have imagined to the level it is with smartphones and technology.
Right.
So this may be kind of a resetting and undoing of some of what the first trilogy provided, but I gotta think that there's stuff to dig into that is going to be a lot of fun to play with, especially if we're in the Matrix more than we were in the first series. But I don't know.
You know what it is?
I'm excited for
You know
it.
what
They're going to be look, Christian, sorry. Continue.
You know what they were waiting for, Chris? You know the why? And why it took so long? You know, cell phones, they became a slab. And you know that first Matrix movie had the cool, like, gun clip cell phones. And they're like, cell phones are just boring and everybody's got to be on a phone. They were waiting for foldables. So now, Keanu,
We're here.
a.k.a. Neo,
Satisfying.
a.k.a. Mr. Anderson, can slap that bad boy shut. I smell
Yeah,
a
we
tie
know there's not going to be nearly enough payphones. So they're going to have to solve that problem somehow.
Oh my God! Please let there be a moment in the movie where they try to find a payphone and it's just non-existent.
10 miles. So yeah, that's the first. Go ahead, Chris.
Just to finish my thought here. I definitely want to see this movie. Will I be going to see this movie in theater? Contrary to Brian's experience today watching the trailer, getting the chills, I'm probably going to watch it on HBO Max, to be totally honest. Like, I think my television and sound system here at the house is adequate enough to give me the experience that I'm looking for this type of movie. I think the first Matrix, I love the first Matrix. We've talked about the first Matrix here on the podcast. That is a great movie. Did it need 3 sequels? Probably not. But we'll see. We'll see how this movie does.
Did Ant-Man and the Wasp need to exist? No.
Only to bolster the rest of the MCU universe.
Well, this is the MCU. This is the new MCU, Chris.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the first teaser trailer, depending on if you agree with that, for The Matrix Resurrections that'll be coming out later this year. Okay, so this next segment is very much not my bag, but I'm going to run through 5 or so of the major announcements here and then let you guys kind of talk about them. So the PlayStation Showcase happened last week, as of this coming out, and a bunch of really cool stuff was released. So we've got the God of War sequel, God of War Ragnarok, revealed a new gameplay trailer. We got Marvel's Spider-Man 2 announced with a tease of Venom being the main villain. We've got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake announced for PS5, as well as Marvel's Wolverine, developed by Insomniac Games as well. Also, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy got another trailer that came out. Lastly, very strange one. Radiohead and Epic Games are coming out with some sort of virtual exhibition for the Kid A and Amnesiac re-release that should be quite interesting.
Better be in VR. That's all I have to say. Is they better have
it feels like it should be, right?
I'm sure, right? That would be a huge
well,
missed
it's not just.
opportunity.
I mean, it comes out in the next year. I mean, PlayStation's VR doesn't have a date yet. They have some hardware they've teased, but they don't have PS5 VR. And I still haven't got that dongle. They sold a dongle so you could set up your
That
VR.
damn dongle.
Never got it.
It's been like over a year at this point.
I don't think the order was put in, to be perfectly frank. I don't think the lovely, very new person I talked to over at Sony, who assured me that it was on the way, but could not provide me any confirmation of such. Still waiting on that dongle, Sony.
You're not getting it.
Doesn't exist.
The day that you move, that's the day the dongle box is going to show up on your doorstep.
You'll get an email said undeliverable. It got returned.
Thanks for putting that out into the universe. Appreciate it, Chris.
Sorry.
Chris, I've got a lot to say, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the PlayStation Showcase.
The most exciting things for me were obviously the KOTOR remake. They didn't show anything, but the prospect of getting a full remake of Knights of the Old Republic for the PlayStation 5, so exciting. Obviously, here on the podcast, we love both Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, of course, I was excited by the Spider-Man 2 tease that we got. Brian, you mentioned everyone's mentioning Venom. No one's mentioning the Kraven voiceover. The whole trailer is narrated most likely by Kraven the Hunter. So I'm really excited to see which villains they choose for this sequel. We get some Iron Spider arms popping out of that advanced suit, Peter. Miles has a new costume. Everything about that trailer, super stoked to see more. Christian and I were talking about teasers. The Wolverine trailer is certainly a teaser because it barely shows anything, but based on what Insomniac's been doing, the last 5 years, I don't know what that game's going to look like, but I trust them as a developer, and I think it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, I'm excited about a lot of the stuff announced during the showcase.
Yeah, I think you point out all the Marvel stuff very well, Chris.
Right.
On brand. We got
an Uncharted bundle that's coming to the PS5.
It was cool.
Why? I don't know.
The Marvel stuff was especially cool because, for those who may not know, it's developed by Insomniac Studios, who's known for the Spider-Man. And I had told Chris that I had a little sneaking suspicion because Spider-Man was announced for the PlayStation version of the Avengers, but they didn't really show him, even though they kind of confirmed that he's coming out by the end of the year, and clearly they had a render of him because he was kind of in the background on a picture. And I was watching some stuff on that, and I was like, oh, wait a second. Maybe they don't want to premiere him because they premiered Black Panther before he showed up, because they're going to talk about Spider-Man 2 at this event, which seemed very likely. So I was expecting Spider-Man 2, and I was watching this event live, and when it said Insomniac Marvel, I go, oh, here's our Spider-Man 2, like everybody else, here it is. And I was like, well, this is a weird setting. This must be like Kraven the Hunter or some other person. And then the claws come out, and I literally just was like, oh my God, they're going to do my, like, for those
you were texting Brian and I was on my way home from somewhere, and I was freaking out.
Do you like my updates too? My updates for you.
They were great.
Like,
I love them.
So good.
Straight to the point. And because I was watching on YouTube on my phone, I had to like go off and then send a text and then go back to YouTube on my phone. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Wolverine is like one of my favorite comic book characters from like a long time ago. Like, just always loved him. He's hairy. I'm hairy. He's short. I'm short. I say bub. He says bub. You know, it's a match made in heaven. I love Wolverine.
You're known, if for nothing else, saying bub.
Yeah, I say bub all the time, bub. So very close, near and dear to my heart. I love the X-Men series, both the cartoon and the movies made by Fox in the 2000s, early 2000s. And so, and then Insomniac is just a no miss. I just played Ratchet and Clank, and it's incredible. We all have talked about Spider-Man for PS4 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So just knowing that brought so much joy, and I have so many questions for how they're going to do it. There was a pretty good Wolverine game. I think it was called It was called Wolverine. I don't know. You were ripping people in half with claws. It was badass. So I'm curious to see how brutal they make it, because he's a man with metal claws, and he stabs people and maims them. So I'm interested to see. It seems pretty bloody. His knuckles were pretty bloodied up, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go full M. It seems like the only way to do it. You don't want Wolverine fighting a bunch of robots. So although we didn't get much information, they said everything we need to know to be very excited, although we shouldn't expect this game anytime soon.
I don't think they even gave us a release year.
No, because Spider-Man 2, which was announced, was 2023. So that's over a year, which I think is pretty realistic, and hopefully that's something that sticks. But you got to imagine with how much tech they already developed, assets, and they're pushing 2023 for Spider-Man 2. Got to imagine Wolverine much farther out. But still, nonetheless, very excited. I did also, I mean, to me, just as a capstone to this entire thing, I thought this was the most exciting games event that we've gotten this year. It really was action-packed, a lot of great third-party content, amazing first-party announcements from Sony, all the God of War and Horizon,
I didn't even touch
Forbidden
on that.
West. We got, we've had gameplay for Forbidden West, but this was a gameplay reveal of God of War. All looks so amazing. It looks so clean, and I like kind of tuned out. I'm like, I'm playing these things. I'm sold. They're gorgeous. And you're going to get like old, like Norse Thor, not like the pristine Marvel Thor.
Have you seen the concept art for him?
Yeah. He's
looks great.
Pretty rough around the edges, that one.
It looks great.
Looks so good. So I'm excited for this like more true to Norse mythology take on Thor. So that's all very exciting. But yeah, just a ton of stuff. I thought the Rainbow Six Extraction, which is like a multiplayer horde-based wave shooter. I love Rainbow Six, the Siege. It's super fun. It's just maybe a bit of a toxic community, and one that a lot of my friends aren't playing. So I just haven't really gotten into that, but it's great mechanics, great game. But to have like a co-op kind of alien shooter within these mechanics is super awesome, and I thought that looked really clean. And then I think one of my favorite things, they announced a game called Forspoken. I thought for sure, and everybody should watch this trailer, I thought for sure that this was the Harry Potter game, the Warner Brothers Harry Potter game, because it goes through a portal. We have a young female protagonist. She goes through a portal, and she's at like a castle, and it's all magic and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is Harry Potter. And then it wasn't. And then it shows like real-time combat where she's got like a spell shield, and she's like casting, like she's a spellcaster, but it's not Harry Potter. So it's like a magic combat, not Harry Potter game. And I'm so down for new ideas, new IP. That's what's made PlayStation great. Like God of War wasn't always a thing, right? Uncharted wasn't always a thing. All these great, Last of Us wasn't always a thing. These are fairly like new, very deliberate, new narrative-based stuff. So I am so here for it. Everybody should watch that trailer. It looks really good. The writing seems maybe not top tier based on just the trailer, but I'm hopeful that it gets there. It was very well done. It was like voice acting wise, very professional. But the game looks gorgeous. It looks like it's going to be a next gen through and through, as opposed to something like God of War or for Horizon, which is backwards compatible. This seems like a true next generation game they're developing, and I couldn't be more stoked. So I was really excited about that new piece of content, not knowing anything about it other than magic. It's not Harry Potter, and it looks dope. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I encourage it. I think it's worthwhile to watch all that. I mean, we did get like more Grand Theft Auto 5 news, which is, I don't need to hear about anything else that happens to Grand Theft. It's coming to PS5. It has successfully survived 3 generations.
That's insane.
That's pretty incredible, honestly.
Why?
Yeah.
Again, why?
Because people buy it.
People are playing. Yeah.
I think it's nearing Skyrim levels of craziness at this point. We're just like,
that game's been ported a lot.
Here's your smart Samsung microwave that plays Skyrim, you know. But I would say that 99% of everything we saw today for sure couldn't run on a Nintendo Switch. I'm just gonna go out.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
All right, we had to get the dig in there at some point.
Right.
So.
Every single time we talk about video games has to be some type of dig at the Switch.
That wasn't a dig. That's just like a fact. It wasn't a dig. You thought it was a dig?
I mean, it's kind of a dig when you like bring something up that wasn't even part of the conversation just to like point
not
out
even a little bit.
What? I mean, it can run on the Xbox. It looks like it can run on a PC. It just definitely couldn't run on a Switch.
Just can't run on the Switch.
It could probably run on a Samsung microwave though.
They're pretty
Who's
powerful.
to say?
Hey, they make those SSDs real nice and fast. You know, the whole time in capping off, for real, capping off the entire PlayStation state of play. The whole time, here's how sad things are over in PlayStation land for me. I'll dig PlayStation, Chris, to make you feel better. There is a beta right now that's out that you have to get invited to, which I have asked repeatedly to be invited to, that allows you to expand the internal storage for more SSD fast storage.
Yep.
And if you don't have the beta, that function is bricked. Such as if you even installed the hard drive just to get it out of the way, just to get it out of the fucking box, your PlayStation wouldn't boot up. And I got to say, although all this news is very exciting, I was really hoping they were going to say, and the thing is live, you can expand your storage. Because I have a Western Digital SSD that has been sitting outside of my PlayStation. I bought it weeks after the beta was out, going, there's no way they're betaing this for like more than like a month. So I was like, I'll get it right at the month. We'll be good to go. We'll be Gucci. Yeah. I was really sad they didn't announce firmware.
It has to be
updates.
soon, right? It's such a simple installation. Like they're flipping a switch. Come on.
It's because
Sony.
it has to match the right read speeds and there's heat issues. And they're allowing a lot of third-party ones. So I get the technical challenge. I do. But before I bought it on pre-order, they were like, and here's where you expand the storage. Here's the bay for the storage. And then I bought it, and a year later, I still can't do the thing they taught me, the thing they showed me when they were like, and now do you want to pre-order it? Yes, that sounds great. Too bad you can't expand the storage, you son of a bitch. Because I'm literally...
Only when we say when.
Since I bought the console, I've been out of storage because I bought Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, a couple backwards compact games that got PS5 upgrades, and I ran out of storage the first week. I talked about it on this pod, and I've been out of storage. So, the fuck, Sony. Anyway, I was hoping for the trailer for, you can upgrade your storage now. Such a simple ask. But that's what sucks about PlayStation right now. You know, the great thing about Switch is that you could fit 100,000 games on it because they're like 37 megabytes big. And that 32 gigabyte internal storage
37 megabytes. Mm-hmm.
The internal storage of 32 gigabytes goes a real long way. No joke, I bought my girlfriend a 128 gigabyte expandable card. We've bought like 10 games. Oh, baby, so much space. So much space available on that Switch.
That's a great thing.
Chris, what's the largest game that you have for Switch?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I want
maybe
you to
10
check.
gigs?
10 gigs.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I believe Call of Duty is 600 gigs. It's stupid. And guess what? That's a benefit. I'm praising the Switch. That's a good thing about the Switch.
I'm happy to hear you finally coming around, I guess.
And somehow we've managed to end the PlayStation discussion again on the Switch,
With
but
a
it's
dig on the Switch,
appreciated.
yeah.
No, it's a positive on the Switch. So yeah, that's the PlayStation Showcase, a bunch of content that's been released that you can find all over YouTube now. Moving into some stuff that's coming out this week, starting with some TV that's debuting on Monday. We talked a few weeks back about some casting announcements for this, but Why the Last Man is debuting on FX on Hulu this Monday, the 13th. So this is based on the graphic novel series by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra, and is showrun by Eliza Clark. I apologize about pronunciation there. So the premise of this show is it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where a mysterious cataclysmic event simultaneously killed every mammal with a Y chromosome. But for one man, Yorick Brown, our main character, played by Ben Schnetzer, and his pet monkey, Ampersand. So post-apocalyptic story, giant world-building stuff, I have to imagine. I haven't read this. As I said last time we talked about it, it's been recommended to me since, I want to say, college or so, and I've just never actually picked it up. But I think there's some big potential here. Obviously, a lot of comics are being adapted these days. But yeah, Why the Last Man is debuting on FX on Hulu this Monday. The Lost Symbol is coming to Peacock this Thursday. So this is based on the Dan Brown book in the Robert Langdon series that you may know. The Da Vinci Code is probably the most popular of them. I think there are 4 or 5. I think 5 total at this point. But most of the other ones have been adapted into movies outside from the latest one. And The Lost Symbol is being adapted into a TV show. So the premise of this is a young Harvard symbologist must solve a series of deadly puzzles to save his kidnapped mentor and thwart a chilling global conspiracy. So this is featuring Ashley Zuckerman as Robert Langdon, the main character of these stories. And I've read this book and really enjoyed it. It is very much up my alley in terms of conspiracy thriller type of stuff. As with Dan Brown, he's not the best writer, but he's so fast paced and he's a great ideas guy. So his books are a lot of fun, I find. But yeah, so that's The Lost Symbol that is debuting on Peacock this Thursday. Moving into some movies that are coming out this Friday. Clint Eastwood still going strong with another movie called Cry Macho. It's pretty incredible. I mean, he's over 80 years old at this point, right? So this is a neo-Western drama directed and produced by Eastwood, and it's an adaptation of the novel of the same name by N. Richard Nash from 1975. So the plot follows a former rodeo star played by Eastwood who's hired to return a young man played by Eduardo Minette in Mexico to his father, Dwight Yoakami, in the United States. This is classic, like, old Clint Eastwood, kind of conservative, but kind of like loving and accepting of minority people. It seems like you know what type of movie you're going to get here. It's definitely playing into a certain thing that Clint Eastwood later in his career especially seems to have done. But honestly, this movie looks like it could be good. And Clint Eastwood has done enough great work in the past that this might be worth seeing. I don't think I saw his last movie, The Mule, but I actually heard like mixed to good things about it. So yeah, that's Cry Macho. That'll be in theaters and on HBO Max this Friday. All right, something that I'm very excited about. Prisoners of the Ghostland. This is coming to theaters and VOD this Friday, and it's directed by Sion Sono from a script by Aaron Hendry and Raza Sikso Safai, and stars Nicolas Cage, Sophia Boutella, and Bill Moseley. The premise of this movie, a notorious criminal, hero Nick Cage, is sent to rescue the governor's adopted granddaughter who has disappeared into a dark supernatural universe. So if Pig was not comparable to Mandy in any way, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is going to be much more in that batshit insane Nicolas Cage realm, which I am largely always here for personally. And the fact that it's going to be coming straight to VOD is really nice as well, because I imagine this isn't going to be a huge theatrical release. But that's Prisoners of the Ghostland. It's coming to theaters and VOD this Friday. A couple more. We've got Blue Bayou. So this is written and directed by Justin Chon and stars Chon, Alicia Vikander, Mark O'Brien, Lynn Dan Pham, and many others. and follows a Korean American man who was adopted by an American family at age 3, who faces deportation by racist authorities, but intends to fight it at the risk of losing his family. This movie seems very relevant to the times we're living in. Obviously, immigration has always been a huge deal in the United States, but has become even more politically charged in the last 5 to 10 years. And looks like it's going to be, the type of movie that could be in Oscar contention if it does well. It looks like super solid, very solid trailer. So I'm looking forward to Blue Bayou. That'll be just in theaters this Friday. Finally, we've got The Eyes of Tammy Faye. So this is based on a documentary of the same name by Fenton Bailey and Randy Barbato, and is directed by Michael Showalter and written by Abe Sylvia, and depicts the history of controversial televangelists Tammy Faye Baker and Jim Baker, as portrayed by Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield. So this movie, conceptually, I'm really interested in it. I think it can deal with a lot of themes that have been relevant in this country for a long time in terms of prosperity gospel and God being abused for monetary purposes. I will say, though, the prosthetics in this movie look...
You don't like them?
They look bad, and it's kind of distracting nearly. So I'm hoping in the movie, as there's progression, it looks a little more natural, but it does look a little over the top in terms of the prosthetic
film
work.
Is going to be covering like a range of
exactly.
time.
So I'm hoping it's gradual.
Maybe it'll be like gradual enough. So like you kind
Did you feel this way too, though? Did you think it looked bad?
Looking at like older Jessica Chastain and older Andrew Garfield in the prosthetics, there is like a weird uncanny valley thing.
Is this like Cloud Atlas levels of bad?
I don't remember being taken out of Cloud Atlas.
I don't remember
in the same
I
way.
remember it being fine. I mean, going, these aren't the best I've ever seen. While the group of teenage girls in the theater were laughing their ass off every time.
Ooh.
So what's his bad?
Jim
It might not
Sterling, Englishman, showed up as an Asian character.
Oh my god.
Yeah, not great. Not great.
Yeah,
But-
I agree with you though. We'll see how the final film turns out.
Yeah, and obviously both of these people we know are great actors.
Sturgis.
So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jim Sturgis. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's right. No worries. But yeah, that's The Eyes of Tammy Faye. That'll be in theaters this Friday as well. And that's it for the news this week, guys.
Brian, wackiest of news as always, landing on such a wacky note. And delivery clean, smooth, at a great 60 frames per second. Something the Nintendo Switch is just not capable of. Well, that'll do it for the weekly upload news section for our YouTube listeners. Again, you can subscribe to the audio feed by following the show down below, and our audio feed of the whole weekly upload post every Monday morning. So try to jump on that wagon. But while we're waiting, before we go, let's figure out where people could find more of us on the internet. Chris, where can people find more of you, should they want to? And more pro-Switch propaganda.
I don't post a lot of Switch stuff. Maybe I should start doing that to counterbalance your negativity. The universe has to be balanced, Christian. Loyal viewers and listeners, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Conkling, talking about all things nerdy. I do talk about video games and comics and television and movies and collectibles on my Twitter account. So head on over there for some nerdy goodness.
And you can find me at True Pop-O-Holic on Twitter, with a bunch of terrible dad jokes and also valid critical acclaim, and really not really critical acclaim, although I do feel it, but just bad jokes related to Christian's latest project that I'm tweeting about. So tune in for that.
They've all
as
been
well.
very in line with the rest of your content. I will say
Okay.
that. So,
all right. Appreciate it. For better and for worse.
We make a good team. The Are You Real Kids had me laughing at my own jokes, so I'm for it. And if you want to find out what that project is, head on over to Midnight Satire. That's at Midnight Satire on the socials, as well as you can find all new single AR streaming now. Holy cow! Quarantine art. It's happening. It's finally here. I know I've talked a lot on the show about it, but it's so good to finally start releasing some of this stuff. So check that out. Again, email us at popholicscast@gmail.com. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite star metric system on Apple Podcasts or wherever. If it says you can rate us, just do it. If you write a review, leave a comment, send us an email, we will talk about it on the show most likely. So please reach out. And that'll do it for the news section. Bye, YouTube watchers.